Hey everyone, it's a four-gun guy. And today I wanted to take another journey on the reloading train, if you will, and talk about something that's very important towards the end of our reloading process. And it actually occurs about midway in our reloading process, and that's runout. You'll hear that term. You'll hear the term bullet runout, neck runout. And so I want to talk about what that is. So let's go over what is runout. Then we're going to go over how does this runout occur and what equipment do we use to check for runout. And then really I want to do a numerical comparison because I've actually purchased a new full-length sizing die. And there were some pretty interesting results between that one and the die I was using. So I want to actually provide some numerical analysis around runout, and then we'll have some final thoughts. So if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Well, what is this term runout? What does it mean? I want you to think of the term runout as a synonym for concentricity. So you'll hear that term as well, right? The concentricity of our case, of our round, the bullet, the neck, and that's really what we're talking about. So I've done a really crummy little drawing here, and I hope you can see this. I think you can. And really what we're looking at is this. Look at this blue line as the center axis of your rifle's bore, okay? So this is the center axis. From the chamber all the way to the end of that barrel, this is the center line. When we talk about runout or concentricity, really what we're talking about is, if you hear the term neck runout, it's the neck right here. How concentric is this with the center of the bore and or the chamber? When we talk about bullet runout, we're talking about, now we've seated a bullet and it would come out here. Sorry, I ran out of space, but it would come out here. And how concentric is that bullet? In other words, the tip of that bullet should basically be on this center line here, right? It really should be. That would give a zero runout. If we had a gauge that could measure as I run around the circumference of this neck, and then after a seated bullet, I use that gauge to run around that bullet, we should have no up and down in the gauge. Everything should just be even Steven, and that's telling us that everything is concentrically aligned to the center of our bore. So basically that's what we're talking about with runout. Just think of it as concentricity. So with that said, let's look at how we end up with runout. Well, a lot of factors contribute to runout. If you have seen the video on my reloading process, then you'll know that I do some steps. I clean the neck, I check concentricity early on from a fired case, and then I clean the brass, I tumble the brass, then I anneal the brass, and then I lube and resize the brass. It's this resizing step that really can introduce runout into our case. So if I'm looking at a case and I have a full-length sizing die, which I do, I actually have two of them here. One is a Whidden Gunworks resizing die. This is a full-length sizing die, and what that means is, I'm not going to get into the super details of that. Full length versus neck sizing. Full length is basically the entire case gets sized. And what this helps you to do is to distribute some of the brass in the case to areas that it might need to be distributed to. But that's a whole nother conversation. I have two full-length sizing dies. This one is my Whidden die that I've been using, and this is the new, or my new, Short Action Customs full-length sizing die. And we're going to see the difference between these two, how good of a job they actually do sizing the brass and keeping our runout or concentricity low. But again, what you would do, I would come in here, I'd put my die in my press, I'd put a annealed case in here, I'd run it through the die, and that's doing a couple things. Number one, it is taking that neck down, because remember in my, if you looked at my video I just released on neck tension, then you know that a fired case basically has no neck tension because I could drop a bullet right through it because we fired it. The full-length sizing die is doing a couple things. Number one, it's closing in the neck to get ready for the seating of a new bullet. Number two, if we wish to do so, and I do, we bump the shoulder back. So we've got the shoulder of the case, right here, the shoulder of the case, and we are basically, I am bumping this back 1 to 2 thousandths of an inch. And then the full-length sizing die is actually sizing most of the entire length of this case as well, so it chambers more easily in our rifle. That's really what we're doing. Some people just resize the neck. That's all they do. They do neck sizing. They may not even bump the shoulder, but eventually they will have to full-length size this case just because of the way the physics of when you fire it and the way the brass is being distributed along the case itself. But I don't want to get into that conversation. What I'm saying is we've sized the neck in, we've bumped the shoulder back a little bit, we've done a little bit of sizing now to the length of the case, and we have sized our brass. If we have a good die, then that should have minimal impact on that concentricity of the neck and the shoulder, and hence, when we seat the bullet, if we're using a good bullet seating device, which I do, I use a L.E. Wilson bullet seater with my bullet seating press here. So to me, this is very concentric. It's all aligned, and that bullet goes in straight. If we do all that, then we should have very little concentricity. So this is kind of how I just wanted to talk about how when we hear this run out and concentricity, how does that get introduced to our case prep process? So now let's talk about the instruments to measure that concentricity. Well, to measure the concentricity, we're going to want something like this Sinclair concentricity gauge. From a what is good and what is bad, from a good perspective, anything below, let's say, 2 thousandths of an inch run out is considered to be good, okay? Less than a thousandth would be great. I would say, after speaking with people on this subject, anything under 5 thousandths is okay, 2 thousandths and under is good, 1 thousandth and under is excellent. So that's really what we're talking about, and that's where this equipment comes into play. So let's take a real life example now. I'm going to take a couple cartridges from my old full-length sizing die and a couple cartridges from my new short action custom sizing die, and let's compare those. I've got 7 cases that I did with my new short action custom full-length sizing die. I've got hundreds of cases that I've done with my Widden resizing die. And I've got 7 of each here. These 7 with the Widden, I literally took randomly out of 150 cases. I'm not going to do all 7. Let's do 4 cases, okay? So let's do the Widden first. So I'll take this one. I'll put it on here. Now I'm doing the bullet. You see that I've got this gauge on the bullet here, right? So you can see where I've started. It's about 26 right there. And now I'm going to rotate this case. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks to be about 4.5, 5 thousandths of runout on that one. Let's do another one. This is again from the Widden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, about 5. So again, not great, but let's do another one here. 1. That's about 5 as well, okay? So there's 3. We'll do one more just to do it. Yep, that's about 5 thousandths. Okay, so 5 thousandths on the Widden. Now let's look at our short action custom. This is the bullet. So you see we're starting at about 28 and a half. We're going to 29 and a half, 27 and a half. So we're at about 2 thousandths there. Let's take another random one here. Out of that batch, we're at 29 about a thousandth and a half. So about a thousandth and a half there. Take another one here. 29. That is about a thousandth. so let's see here. Yep, about a thousandths run out. And in our last case, we'll look at that. And we're at 29. And again, about a thousandths of run out. So, you know, this is showing you that the difference between two full-length sizing dies, and everything remains the same, guys. Everything. I used the same seating die. They were all annealed at the same time. Everything remained the same. You can see that the one sizing die gave us better run-out results than another sizing die. So I'm not going to redo this and do the neck, because I can promise you it's going to come out to be the exact same thing, the exact differences in the neck. So let's go ahead and run to final thoughts here and just kind of talk about what we've learned. Well, I have to tell you that my eyes have been opened from a run-out standpoint. And this is one reason I wanted to do this video. So I have been using this Widden Gunworks full-length sizing die, and I've loved this thing. It's been a really good resizing die. And when I was looking at my run-out, I was getting these kinds of results, anywhere from 3 thousandths, sometimes up to 5 thousandths of run-out. And you know, my whole thing was, well, you know, I think it's a good die. That's probably just what I'm going to get. Then my buddy Jeff, you hear me mention his name all the time, he was talking about the short action customs, and I went on their site, and you know, holy Moses, this thing's like 3 times that one. The short action customs is not cheap, but I thought, okay, I'm going to try it. It's Christmas. I got a little bit off of it. I think maybe 15% or something like that. So I went ahead and bought one, and you see the results. The results are, this gives me almost a third of the run out that the Widden gives me. Now, I'm going to do an entire video just on this die. I'm so impressed with it, and you're going to see why that's the case. But I didn't want to get into that here. I want this to really be strictly focused on the run out topic. So we talked about run out, what it was. We talked about how it gets introduced into our cartridge when we're resizing. We talked about how to measure that run out using a concentricity gauge like this. Sorry, can't talk today. And then we actually saw the numeric comparisons. So we saw the real life comparisons of these things. Now, when I do this die comparison here and talk about these dies, I'm actually going to take those rounds out to the range. And I know it's only 7 rounds each, but I really want to see, does this translate into better SDs, better ESs, and maybe better groups? We're just going to see. But that's another video. So look, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm trying to keep these kind of topic videos shorter so we can just introduce these things and have some conversations around them. So thanks for watching, everyone. Got a lot more coming up. I've got a new rifle build that I'm staring at the new chassis for it right now. It came on UPS today, and I'm going to be putting that rifle together. It's my 22 long rifle, so I'm moving away from one very popular brand, and I'm moving to another very popular brand. We're going to see how that all goes. But a lot of other stuff coming. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, shoot straight.